Never Say Never Again is the 1983 James Bond ripoff film starring Sean Connery as an aging James Bond and a rehash of a different Bond flick from 18 years earlier. A movie that would be left out of every James Bond box set for the next 40 years. It features all your favorite James Bond characters played by people you've never heard of. It's got James Bond harassing women 30 years younger than him, totally pointless jetpack scenes, and the best acting performance I've ever seen from a shark. So pop open your suitcase full of caviar and strap in for this shaken not stirred installment of Brisflix. What up, nerds? Welcome to Brisflix. I'm the one and only Alex Brisson, and this is a show where we watch a movie and I nitpick every teeny tiny little detail of it as though I could have done better. Never Say Never Again is an interesting case. Based on Thunderball, which is a novel by Ian Fleming, based on an earlier unproduced Bond script of the same name. And even though the movie features Sean Connery playing the role of James Bond, it's not recognized as an official entry in the franchise. Every Bond movie up until this point had been produced by the same people, Albert Broccoli at Eon Productions, but due to a copyright fiasco, the rights to Thunderball ended up falling into the hands of producer Kevin McClory.
Oh no.
So McClory set out to make his own version of a James Bond film, and it probably would have never been regarded as anything more than just a James Bond knockoff film, except that McClory was able to secure the man himself, Sean Connery, for the role of James Bond.
Now you're on this. I hope we're gonna have some gratuitous sex and violence.
I certainly hope so too.
10 years earlier, Sean Connery had said he would never play the role of James Bond again, stating, "I've always hated that damn James Bond. I'd like to kill him." Then, at a later date, he stated, "I never disliked Bond, as some have thought." So it's hard to say how he feels about the role, but the $5 million he was offered for this film probably helped to sway his opinion. "I never actually said I hate James Bond. What I said was I hate James Beard. You see, he stole my beef Wellington recipe." Anyway, let's dive in. Right off the bat, we know something is off because we're completely missing the iconic gun barrel sequence that opens every Bond flick. Instead, we're given this goofy 007 pattern, just immediately reminding you that you're watching a weird off-brand version. While we're at it, let's all enjoy a bowl of Fruit Round cereal and maybe some delicious Prongles chips. We're also not given a proper Bond opening title sequence. You know, the ones with the hit song and the silhouettes of guns and naked women. That's like half the reason I even watched these movies to begin with. We do still get a Never Say Never Again song, though, and it's decent. It has a similar vibe to I'm Never Gonna Dance Again. Very sexy stuff, but the first time we hear it, it's weirdly paired with this sequence of Bond sneaking into the bad guy's base. Here's the scene with a royalty-free song that has a similar vibe. Oh yeah, James, punch those henchmen, strangle that guard. Is it getting hot in here? At one point when he's sneaking in, we get to see my new favorite Bond gadget. A frisbee. I can imagine this being really effective if all the guards are literal dogs. Fetch your mangy much! Boss! Boss, let me go get it and bring it back! No! No! Bad guards, stay. Also, this film was directed by Irvin Kershner. You might know him from some of his other work, like The Return of a Man Called Horse or The Luck of Ginger Coffee, and something else big that I feel like I'm forgetting. What was it? Oh, RoboCop 2. Next, we're given a close-up of a chessboard that's set up entirely wrong! Both black bishops are on the same colored square. The filmmakers had no regard for the fact that I was going to pause this film, zoom in, and analyze every single frame of it. Think again, props department! So Bond finds a woman tied up and he cuts her loose, but she stabs him in the gut. Then we reveal this was actually an elaborate training exercise all along. If that was all a simulation, that means this guy is Bond's co-worker. I hope they have good health insurance. So let's see what fun, wacky mission M has for Bond this time.
From now on, you will be suffering a strict regimen of diet and exercise.
Okay, well, I'm sure it won't be as boring as it sounds.
I'd like you to see the irrigologist at 4, have a colonic at 5, and then you can cut along to the light dining room and have a refreshing cup of parsley tea.
Alright then, interesting direction we're taking this series in. At least Bond hasn't lost his charm.
I need a urine sample. If you could fill this beaker for me.
From here?
Also, the idea that Bond doesn't already diet and exercise is ludicrous. You're telling me James Bond, the guy who was always jumping off buildings, beating up bad guys, and having sex like 20 times a day, this guy doesn't work out? Meanwhile, there's a meeting of the top secret evil organization, Spectre. They're working on some evil plan or something. I don't know. A lot of the exposition in Bond movies is really boring.
Our capital outlay has been handsomely offset by the resultant sales of armaments. We have supplied both rebels and government forces on an equal basis. In
A
matters of
surgical
death,
operation has been
Spectre
performed on
is
him.
strictly
I
Spectre
send
for
my
audacious
wife
and
is now
harm.
exactly
Next to which our previous
Essentially, Bond good, bad guy bad, Bond needs stop bad guy. Oh, and there's a guy who's having his eye replaced with the president's eye so he can fool a retinal scanner. I guess the president has weirdly wet giant blue eyes. This top secret evil eye replacement happens to be occurring in the same facility that Bond is staying in for his new diet and exercise routine. How convenient! Bond runs into a nurse and goes back up to her room for a back realignment. We know you came for sex and violence, so here's neither! But she comes back to Bond's room later that night and offers her very clear consent.
No, I can't come in.
See, that's unmistakable. She's totally game. 3 lefts make a right and 4 no's make a yes. So Bond woos her by saying some really scary stuff like,
I won't let anyone find you.
Then he proceeds to reveal one of the strangest things I've ever seen.
Beluga caviar, quail's eggs, vodka.
He used his spy skills to sneak a bunch of cheat snacks into diet school, but these are such weird rich person selections. He brought beluga caviar and quail eggs? Could you be a little more pretentious, dude? Also, where's his luggage? Is this crap all he brought? I have so many questions. Later that night, Bond wakes up after hearing a weird domestic dispute next door.
Jack must do as he's told if he wants his fast cars and his pretty clothes.
So he sneaks over and takes a peek at Jack's weird wet eye. So the world's greatest secret agent happens to share a wall with the key operatives in Spectre's top secret evil plan. Awful convenient! The next day, Bond is minding his own business, working out, when a bad guy shows up and starts kicking the shit out of him. This scene is super fun. There's a ton of prop work, which I think is one of the best ways to create a memorable fight scene. Finally, it culminates in this unforgettable moment. So, yep. That happens. It's ridiculous. And he acts like he's been splashed with acid. Splashing pee in somebody's face would not have that effect. And to prove it, I've got a cup of my own pee right here. See? What did I tell you? Oh my god! Oh my eyes! Oh my eyes! I'm blind! I've gone blind! Meanwhile, Jack uses his big wet eye to help Spectre steal 2 nuclear missiles. So the missiles escape to a new life where they can be free, but wet-eyed Jack is not so lucky. But just throwing a snake at somebody isn't necessarily enough to kill them. Like, he could still park that car and get out without being... Oh, but that still didn't look like that bad of a crash. I think there's definitely a chance that he lived through. Okay, he's definitely dead now. So Blofeld calls the government and is like, I have the missiles.
Please note the serial numbers of the missiles. They will confirm the truth.
Oh, you mean the serial number that's completely obscured by this glare? Really helpful. This is where the movie should have started. Why even include all this stuff about Bond going on a diet? There's so much filler in this movie. Like this scene where all the bad guys say good morning to each other.
Good morning, gentlemen.
Morning.
Morning. Morning. Morning, Charles.
And that's it. That's the whole scene. I didn't cut this down or anything. That's really how the scene is in the movie. So we meet this week's bad guy, Largo, and his thing is, this. So he seems like a cool guy. If that's what he's into, he should just move to New York City. Like, my window looks straight into my neighbor's shower.
And what if I ever leave you?
Then I cut your throat.
Oh, just some good-natured mild ribbing between lovers. Get a room already. So next we meet Q, or not Q, and he gives Bond his gadgets. A pen that shoots explosions and a watch that shoots lasers. And that's it. Just 2 gadgets. No frisbee? So Bond goes to the Bahamas and meets up with his contact. That's right, Mr. Johnny English himself, Rowan Atkinson. You know, Mr. Bean, Johnny English, Blackadder... Okay, alright, I admit it, you caught me. I've never actually seen a Rowan Atkinson movie. I've never seen Mr. Bean's Holiday, I never watched Johnny English, but I am aware that it's some sort of James Bond parody film, so it's funny that he's here. I think he's meant to be comic relief, but they didn't really write him any jokes.
You've met him?
Oh, yes, he's charming. I mean, foreign, but charming nonetheless.
It's like you're on the edge of your seat just waiting for him to make a joke.
He donates a lot of money to worthy causes.
I'm sure he's very kind to his mother.
Don't know his mother.
Now, Bond, make sure not to go and create a scene, because that would make our employers unhappy, which would not be ideal for either of us. So Bond meets Fatima Blush at a bar. She's gonna take him to go find the missiles, but first they have to make a quick stop to Bone Town.
You affect me, James.
So they go diving to find the missiles, but Fatima attaches a device to Bond that calls all nearby sharks to attack him. All we hear is beeping, but I assume the sharks are hearing something like, "Free iPads! Come on down and get your free iPads!" And here's the thing about these sharks. They're total show stealers. I mean, this is a pretty remarkable performance from a fish. He's completely upstaging Connery. Somebody give this shark an Oscar. So Bond narrowly escapes the shark and meets another woman, and they about time, too. It's been almost 15 minutes since the last sex scene. In the credits, this character is named Lady in the Bahamas. She literally doesn't even have a name. Go feminism! But that's enough of the sexy stuff. Let's get back to the adventure. Right, I almost forgot about this really important shot. Just producers being like, "More boobs! We got a quota to hit here. If I don't sexualize 100 women before the film's over, I'll never work in this town again." I think they're just trying to set the tone for this next creepy scene, where Bond finds the bad guy's girlfriend, Domino, waiting to receive a massage.
Hard or soft massage?
People had to start carding their masseurs after this film came out.
That feels so good.
Certainly does.
Forget being a spy, I think I found my true calling.
Could you go a little lower, please?
Lower?
Yes, please.
Also, is this the longest scene in the movie?
Where'd the masseur go?
Who? He does not work here.
Great. Now I'll just never get a massage again. At least he has the decency to leave her alone after this. Just kidding. He follows her to a party and jumps out at her from behind an arcade game. Care for a round of Frogger? So Domino introduces Bond to the bad guy who wants to play an arcade game with him. The world's greatest arcade game.
This game has one objective. Power.
Right. Power. I get the sense the screenwriters had never played an arcade game before.
We will be fighting for countries. Target areas will light up on the map. Whoever hits them first with his laser beam will score a point. With your left hand, you control 2 nuclear missiles. With your right hand, you control a shield to block my missile.
There are a lot of problems in this scene. Like, we can't tell what the hell's going on in this weird, boring-looking game. Also, as someone born in the 90s, it's really hard to imagine that robot voice being considered futuristic.
Thank you, gentlemen. The eternal battle for the domination of the world begins.
We play for dollars.
Wait, we play for dollars? I thought we were fighting for countries, and the objective is power.
Who wins $9,000?
Gave me a shock.
Oh, I'm sorry. We will share the pain of our soldiers in form of electric shock.
As if playing this game wasn't already painful enough. But finally, Bond beats Largo at his own game. So Bond wins a dance with Domino and tells her that Largo killed her brother, Wet-Eyed Jack.
Your brother's dead.
Keep dancing.
Someone threw a snake into his open car window and then he crashed and exploded. Hey, Macarena! So next is a car chase. It's fun, the usual stuff. Bond does a motorcycle with a rocket on the back, so he uses it to jump over the bad guy's car, but he's ultimately caught by Fatima. You remember Fatima.
You affect me, James.
She captures Bond and has him write a note saying that she was the best sex he's ever had. But Bond uses his exploding pen to blow her up. That'll teach you to write me off. I guess the pen really is mightier than the sword. Nothing to write home about. P.S. You're dead. So Bond sneaks onto Largo's ship, where Largo says good morning to him.
Good morning.
That's kind of his thing. He ties Bond up, but Bond manages to escape with his watch laser. Watch this. Time to escape. Looks like it's 1:30. Get the hell out of here, clock. So Bond rescues Domino and escapes on horseback. Thankfully, the bad guys are as incompetent as ever. Hit him with your gun! Use your machine gun like a bat and strike him with it! Shouldn't we just shoot at him? I said hit him! Then they jump off a cliff, horse and all. I'd really like to know how they did this. The first shot is clearly special effects, but the second shot definitely seems like a real horse. Was there a big catapult, or did they push them off a high dive? Ah! How are we supposed to strike him with our guns when he's way down there? If only we had some sort of projectile weapon! So Bond goes after Largo in a submarine. Thankfully, Bond has experience as a submarine captain. Oh wait, no, I'm thinking of Hunt for Red October. Anyway, it's time for Bond and Felix to strap in for the world's most pointless jetpack scene. So they fly above a village and spot this well, and then they take off the jetpacks and never use them again. That scene could have 100% taken place with both characters on foot. Just saying. So the bad guys load the nuke into a cave, and Bond and the FBI guys sneak in behind them, and then there's a shootout, yada yada yada, the bad guys sneak away with the nuke yet again. They've been lugging this nuke around forever. Where the hell are they taking this thing? Excellent. Now that we've taken the nuke across the ocean into the underground temple and through the underwater river, all we have to do is traverse a rainforest, cross 3 streams, and climb a mountain, and my evil plan can commence. Just launch the damn thing already. So Bond doubles back to intercept Largo, and they have an underwater knife fight. Yep, the climax for this film is essentially the underwater version of Michael Jackson's Beat It. And then Domino shows up and shoots Largo with a harpoon. Harpoon ya later. I don't know, I'm out of puns. I should have picked a shorter movie. But it's not over yet. There's still this. Okay, now it's over. That's Never Say Never Again. I'll give them credit, it totally passes as a James Bond film. Not a great one, but not the worst one. I'll give it 4 exploding pens out of 11. Having Connery back as Bond is a big redeeming factor. Let me know what you think about the movie. Do you think it counts as a real James Bond movie? Do you think it's the worst James Bond movie, or is there one that you think is worse? Comment and let me know. Also, make sure to like and subscribe, because if you don't, nobody will. What movie should I talk about next? Another Bond movie? Quantum of Solace? Or Moonraker? Or
Octopussy?
Thanks so much for watching. I'll see you next time. Bye!